Today's lesson is going to be focusing on dividing by one-digit divisors. Our goals for today are going to be to correctly place the first digit in the quotient and to be able to correctly solve and check a division problem. First, let's start with some key vocabulary. This is going to be important for many reasons. It'll help you explain your thinking when you're doing a written response. It'll help you better explain your thinking when you're orally answering in class. And on your test, you're going to have to label different parts of a division problem with the correct vocabulary. First, we have the quotient. That's basically the fancy way of saying the answer to your division problem. There's also the divisor. That's the number by which another number is divided. It's on the outside of your box, like right here. And then the dividend is the number that gets divided by another number. That's inside your box, right here. Since you see the pencil sign, go ahead and pause this video for a moment and write these key vocabulary words into your notes. Before you actually do the division, it's a good idea to estimate the quotient so you have an idea of what place value your quotient will begin in. Let's say I'm doing 1,266 divided by 6. I'm going to look for compatible numbers. In other words, numbers that are easy to divide. If I'm going to be dividing by 6 here, I want to look for a number that's compatible to 6. 6 times nothing will give me 1, but 12 is a multiple of 6. So I could estimate this to be 1,200 divided by 6. If you think back to the last chapter, we multiplied using basic facts. We can also divide using basic facts. 12 divided by 6 is 2. Bring over the zeros into that quotient. Our estimated quotient is 200. This is going to give us a pretty good idea that when we divide 1,266 by 6, our quotient will begin in the hundreds place. All right, here's another little trick. In order to remember the steps to division, we use the acronym DMSB. Does McDonald's sell burgers? That lets us know that first we divide, then we multiply. S is for subtract. Finally, bring the next number down. Since you see the pencil sign, pause and write the DMSB and what it stands for into your notes. All right, let's take a minute to see some examples. First, I'm going to estimate just to see if I can figure out which place my quotient is going to begin in. This is 312 divided by 5. Since I'm dividing by 5, I'm looking for a compatible number, a number that really works well and easily can divide by 5. 5 times nothing can give me 3, but 5 times something can get me close to 31. Think, what's that multiple of 5 that's close to 31? Hopefully, you thought 30. So I'm going to change the 31 to a 30, and the 2 is going to become a 0. Now I have 300 divided by 5. Basic fact, 30 divided by 5 is 6. Bring over my answer into the quotient. This gives me a hint that my quotient is going to begin in the tens place because my estimate begins in the tens place. Now I'm going to start the actual division. So I don't forget my steps. I'm going to write my does McDonald's sell burgers off to the side so I can remember the steps that I want to complete my division. First, I know I'm going to be starting in the tens place, which is right here. 5 doesn't divide into 3, but it does divide into 31. It goes in 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. Next, I subtract. 31 minus 30 is 1. Final step, bring down the 2. Now I'm starting all over again with that division. 5 divides into 12 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract 2. Since I have nothing else to bring down, that's my remainder. 62, remainder 2. Let's check out another one. If I have 336 divided by 7. I want to estimate first just to get a good idea of where that quotient's going to begin. Remember, I'm using compatible numbers that are easy to divide. 7 times nothing will give me 3, but there is a multiple of 7 that will get me close to 33. That's 35. The 6 is going to turn into a 0. Now, using a basic fact, I can easily say 35 divided by 7 is 5, and bring the 0 into my quotient. This shows me that my quotient's going to start in the tens place. Now it's time for the actual division. We know the quotient's going to start in the tens place, which is here. 7 doesn't divide into 3, but it can divide into 33. It can go in 4 times. That's the division. Now I multiply. 4 times 7 is 28. Now I have to subtract. I can't do 3 minus 8, so I have to borrow. 13 minus 8 is 5. Well, blue's not showing up too good. Let me grab the black. So 13 minus 8 is 5. Next step, bring down that 6. Starting again, divide. 7 divides into 56 8 times. 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract, I have 0. My answer, or quotient, is 48. Since you see the pencil sign, pause the video. Write the estimate so you can see the use of compatible numbers and where the quotient should begin, and then write the 2 examples of the actual steps to division so that you have them to refer to later in your notes. All right, now I'm going to show you how this connects to the real world. We're actually going to divide, and then I'm going to show you the best strategy ever. It's checking your work. The reason this is so great is you can automatically know whether you have the right answer to your division problem. No waiting for your teacher or your parents to tell you whether or not it's right. You'll know immediately when you check your work. So let's check it out together. A postcard collector has 1,230 postcards. If she displays them on pages that hold 6 cards each, how many pages does she need? Well, first, let's pull out some key information from the text. We know we have 1,230 postcards, and we know that each page can hold 6 cards. So we're trying to figure out how many total pages she needs. Well, I have the 1,230. That's going to be my dividend that goes inside my box. I'm splitting those up to 6 cards on each page, so 6 is my divisor. Now I'm going to have to divide to see how many pages I actually need. 6 doesn't divide into 1, but it can divide into 12. So my quotient's going to start here in the hundreds place. 6 divides into 12 twice. I forgot my does. McDonald's sell burgers. Multiply 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract 0. Bring down my 3. Now I'm starting with division again. How many times can 3 divide into 6? I said that backwards. How many times can 6 divide into 3? Well, 6 divides into 3 0 times. 0 times 6 is 0. Subtract, which is 3. Bring down my 0. Start again. How many times does 6 divide into 30? 5 times. 5 times 6 is 30. Subtract, I get 0. There's nothing else to bring down and no remainder. So at this point, I think she's going to need 205 pages for all these postcards. But here's the trick I told you about. You can check your work immediately to know whether you have the right answer or not. This is how. First, you take that quotient. Remember, I told you vocabulary was going to be important. In this case, our quotient is 205. You're going to multiply it by the divisor. Here, our divisor was 6. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. 6 times 2 is 12. If I did the division correctly, my quotient times my divisor should give me my dividend. Here I have 1,230. Here I have 1,230. So I know my answer's correct. If I had had a remainder, I would have added that down here. But because this one didn't have a remainder, all I had to do was multiply the quotient times the divisor. All right, let's see how we can apply this to this word problem. Jenna's family is planning a trip to Oceanside, California. They will begin their trip in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and will travel 2,754 miles over the course of 9 days. If the family travels an equal number of miles every day, how far will they travel each day? I remember from the last chapter that equal was a signal word for dividing. So that's going to help me know that I'm dividing in this problem. First, I need to estimate to place the first digit of the quotient. They've showed me here that 27 divided by 9, remember basic facts, is 3. Bring those 2 zeros over. 300 is my estimate, meaning the first digit of my quotient is going to be in the hundreds place. The next step is actually to divide the hundreds place. So the hundreds place is here. 9 divides into 27 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. Subtract, I get 0. Bring down that 5. Start again. 9 divides into 5 0 times. 0 times 9 is 0. I subtract, get 5. Now I'm bringing down the 4. Now I'm dividing the ones. 9 goes into 54. 54 divided by 9 is 6. 6 times 9 is 54. Subtract, and we get 0. So they should be traveling 306 miles each day. But remember the beauty of this, we can know immediately if our answer is right or not. So let's go ahead and check it. We're going to take our quotient, which was 306, multiply it by our divisor, which was 9. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5. 9 times 3 is 27. Our product, 2,754, matches our original dividend of 2,754, so we know our answer is correct. Time to try one on your own. Write out your steps. Does McDonald's sell burgers? To remind you to divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. And go ahead and do the division for 4,685 divided by 3. Pause the video, and when you're done, come back to the video to see if you got the correct quotient. Okay, let's see how you did. 3 can begin in the thousands place because 3 can divide into 4. So 3 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract, we get 1. We bring down the 6. Divide again. 3 divides into 16 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract 1. Bring down the 8. 3 divides into 18 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract 0. Bring down the 5. This is a long one. 3 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract, get 2. There's nothing else to bring down, so that's my remainder. So my quotient should be 1,561, remainder 2. But remember, I can check to know if I'm right. Here's one that we're checking using a remainder, so this is a good example. I take the whole part of my quotient, which in this case is 1,561, and I multiply that by my divisor, 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. But since I have a remainder, I need to now add that in. So plus 2. 5, 8, 6, and 4. Now you can see once again, This matches my original dividend here, so I know my answer's correct. You can't forget to check your work. It's such an important part of the division process. Let's say I had a problem like this. Some number divided by 6 gives me a quotient of 82. Well, by knowing how to check a problem, I can find that missing dividend. Because if I take the quotient, in this case it's 82, and I multiply it by the divisor, in this case it's 6, it should give me the unknown dividend. My missing dividend here would be 492, because again, the quotient times the divisor should give you the dividend. All right, it's everyone's favorite part of the night, where we're summarizing using our LOL, our line of learning. So in your journal, I want you to solve the problem 2,217 divided by 3. After you solve it, I want you to explain how to check the division problem to know if your quotient is correct. Notice I said explain how to check it. So you're using your vocabulary, just like you're teaching someone else, to write out in sentences how you would check that division problem. Good luck.